Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm so glad you're here because we are diving headfirst into a topic that is literally everywhere right now. But honestly, it is so incredibly misunderstood. We're going to take a really close look at the actual limitations of AI and robotics. My whole goal today is to cut right through the noise, get past the hype and help you understand what this technology can actually pull off, and more importantly, what it absolutely cannot do. I mean, this question right here, it strikes at the very heart of the anxiety, the endless debates, and just the sheer confusion sweeping through the business world today. You hear it everywhere, from casual break room chats to intense boardroom meetings. Everyone's asking, is AI going to take all our jobs and replace us completely? Or is this whole thing just a massive fraud, like a giant tech bubble that's just waiting to burst?
Every time a huge wave of new technology hits, it brings this massive hype cycle with it. And right now, we are riding right at the very peak of inflated expectations. On one side, you've got the superfans predicting total transformation, saying AI will take every single job. On the flip side, you have the heavy critics predicting total failure, calling AI a complete fraud. But here's the thing, both of these extreme headlines are just wrong. The reality is way more nuanced and honestly, a lot more interesting. AI and robotics are genuinely transformative. They have unbelievable capabilities. But they're also genuinely limited in ways that we constantly underestimate.
So let's get right into it. Part 1, the mechanics of failure, what AI cannot do. Okay, this brings us to a really fundamental misunderstanding about what current AI systems actually do, even the most capable, mind-blowing large language models out there. Here it is. AI does not reason, it predicts. When you ask a language model to solve a problem, it's really just generating the text that's most likely to follow your prompt, based on massive patterns in its training data. It's kind of like a super-powered autocomplete. Now, don't get me wrong, this works remarkably well a lot of the time, but because it lacks actual fundamental reasoning, it fails in some very predictable ways. It gives us incredibly confident errors, it'll invent facts entirely out of thin air, basically hallucinating, and the wildest part, it has absolutely zero internal mechanism to catch its own mistakes. And that lack of reasoning leads us to another profound limitation. It's the classic difference between correlation and causation. AI systems are absolutely phenomenal at spotting correlations. They can sift through mountains of data and find patterns with just extraordinary precision. But they don't actually understand any of it. They deeply struggle to separate correlation from causation. They just don't get the why behind the data. And that is a massive, critical roadblock in fields like medicine, law, or economics. In those jobs, getting the causal story right isn't just some nice bonus feature, it is literally the most essential part of the job.
Moving on to part 2, the physical gap, robotics in the real world. It is incredibly humbling to realize that tasks a 5-year-old child does without even thinking still represent massive, complex hurdles for physical robots. Think about it. Picking up a delicate object without accidentally crushing it into powder, figuring out how to open a totally new type of container you've never laid eyes on before, or even just walking across a messy, cluttered room. There is this huge gap between a robot doing a highly rehearsed task in a perfectly controlled, pristine lab and doing that exact same task reliably in the totally unpredictable, messy, real world. Turns out, dexterous manipulation, just using hands in a smart way, is fundamentally unbelievably hard. So when you put all these persistent weaknesses together, a pretty clear checklist emerges. Whether we're talking about digital AI or physical robots, they struggle with hallucinations and making incredibly confident errors. They have really poor causal reasoning. They lack a genuine, common-sense understanding of the physical world, which, as we just saw, leads to terrible dexterous manipulation. They struggle to adapt to anything genuinely new without needing a whole new batch of training data. And crucially, they completely lack emotional intelligence. Understanding this exact list of concrete technical hurdles, it's absolutely vital before you even think about deploying AI in any meaningful way. Let's shift gears to part 3, the human edge, skills that resist automation. It really shouldn't be a surprise that the skills AI struggles with the most are the ones most deeply tied to the human experience in our social lives. Right at the very top of that list, emotional intelligence and empathy. The ability to just read a room, to navigate incredibly nuanced, messy human relationships, to offer genuine care and responsiveness when someone is struggling. These are things AI systems can only ever approximate. Sure, they can simulate the right words to say, but they can never genuinely provide the real human connection that we all fundamentally rely on. And then we have the complex world of creative work. Look, we've all seen AI generate images or music or text that has a really impressive surface quality. It looks cool, but true human creativity is a completely different animal. The most valued creative work isn't just technically good. It reflects a specific human perspective. It's shaped by genuine lived experiences, real relationships, and deep cultural context. An AI model is literally just drawing on what previous human artists have already made. But a human artist who has actually lived through something, they have an entirely different, profoundly unique well to draw from.
Which brings us to part 4, the paradigm shift, tasks versus roles.
Okay, if you take only one single thing away from this explainer today, please let it be this. The honest answer to that big, scary question, can AI replace humans, is simply this. For some tasks, yes. But for most roles, no. And when you look at the full scope of what a human being brings to their work, the answer is absolutely not, at least not for the foreseeable future. The whole problem is that we're rarely asking this question at the right level. We have to stop looking at entire jobs as these big monolithic things and start breaking them down into the specific components that actually make up the work.
Let's break this down to make it super concrete. Let's look at an accounts payable professional. Now, AI can easily step in and handle the predictable, highly repetitive, data-intensive tasks, like data entry. It's great at that. But the human? The human handles the broader role. The human is the one stepping in to make those vital judgment calls. They're the ones managing sensitive relationships with vendors, and they're the only ones capable of handling complex escalations when things inevitably go wrong. The AI replaces the task, sure, but it absolutely cannot replace the experienced professional whose judgment is what makes that role genuinely valuable.
Finally, part 5, the blueprints for business leaders.
Listen, the very real limitations of AI we've talked about today, they are not a reason for business leaders to be overly cautious or to just hide from adopting it. Not at all. Rather, they're a reason to be incredibly thoughtful about how you adopt it. You should deploy AI strictly for its strengths. Use it for those predictable pieces of work where its speed, its relentless consistency, its pattern recognition, and the fact that it's available 24/7 genuinely improve your outcomes. Basically, let the AI do the heavy data lifting that it excels at. But, and this is a massive but, you absolutely must keep humans in the loop. You need to reserve your amazing human talent for the decisions that actually matter. Humans are required for judgment, for deep contextual knowledge, and for relationship sensitivity. Thinking about it this way is just so much more useful. It points us toward a model where the ultimate goal isn't to just automate your workforce out of existence. The goal is to build an environment of incredibly powerful human-AI collaboration. Which leaves us with this final, vital thought to chew on. The businesses that are going to absolutely crush it in our new AI-augmented world, they are not the ones trying to replace the maximum number of humans. No way. They are the ones who deeply understand where this unique collaboration between humans and AI produces results that neither of them could ever achieve alone. So, where will human-AI collaboration take your business? Just imagine the incredible outcomes you could achieve when you pair the massive predictive power of AI with the irreplaceable judgment, creativity, and lived experience of your human team. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this explainer today. Now get out there and start building those collaborations.